Hello, friend, and welcome to the fourth video in my series called Girl Influx. I'm reading a couple entries from my high school diary every single day in an attempt to process my past, let go of it, and reflect on what was going on in my life in my high school years. So, today's video is going to look a little bit different because I was looking ahead. Oh, someone texted me. Whatever. I was looking ahead, and it appears as though I kept writing for a couple more days in August of 2015, and then I took a long break and started writing again in early January of 2016. So that whole beginning of my sophomore year of high school was not in the writing mood. Apparently. I just didn't feel like I had anything notable to write down. And I feel like I always needed to be in a certain type of mood to pour out my thoughts in my diary. So, and when I did start it up again, I only wrote a couple very brief entries. There's even a line here delineating two separate entries. And then this one was also pretty short, and then I have a special entry here. So I think today I'm going to read from 4 different days, and I will let you know what each day is, what the date is when I wrote it. So I wrote this at the end of the summer, this first entry at the end of the summer before my sophomore year of high school, and I did this tradition of writing my goals for that year before the school year started. 25 goals, apparently, one for each line of this moleskin journal. And I think it was just a good practice for me. I don't really know why I felt the need to write so many goals, given that my life was so not clear cut with everything that was going on with my mental health. That was a loud text. I will look at that later. But I did it, I think, every year of high school. And this was written on, I will show you. And I have this little title right here. Goals for sophomore year, August 18th, 2015. And those are my list of goals. I think it's interesting what I was striving towards and what I wanted to accomplish with my sophomore year. Sophomore year of high school. Does that really matter in life? I don't know. It mattered a lot to me at the time. Okay. Number 1, have fun. Okay, good. Off to a good start. Number 2, stay positive when grades don't go as planned. That was a huge thing I was dealing with. Is I was convinced that the harder you work, the results will come. The results that you want will come. And I was just a really bad test taker. I would study for hours on end and then get a grade that I didn't want. And grades were just like positive reinforcement candy for me. I loved getting good grades, and I loved that feeling of I felt valued when I had good grades, and that it was a testament to my intelligence and how good of a person I was, oddly enough. So I think I was trying to just keep an optimistic mindset for my sophomore year because classes were going to get harder. Okay. Number 3, volunteer as much as possible. And then in parentheses I write, once a month? I don't know why. I think I wanted to volunteer because it looks good for college applications. And I was thinking about that. I wasn't really intrinsically motivated to volunteer at that point in my life. Now I'm doing a year of service. I'm volunteering for an entire year, and that's something completely what I'm doing, and I find it so meaningful and fulfilling. But at this point, when I was 15 years old, I think I was just solely doing it. Solely doing it to get into a good college. Sorry. Something just got caught in my throat. By the way, Yeti bottles, I got this for Christmas. Exponentially better than Hydro Flasks, for sure. Okay, moving on. Number 4, be active in clubs. Another thing for college apps. Okay, I was already thinking about college. As a 15-year-old girl, and I wasn't enjoying life. Oh, how little did I know. Number 5, make new friends. Yeah. My freshman year was pretty lonely, especially since Natalie, my BFF in middle school, moved away. I mentioned her many times so far in my diary entries. And I wanted that high school experience to make new friends, and I think that isolation, that loneliness, lack of social connection exacerbated my eating disorder, because it's a very, anorexia is you just kind of retreat into yourself, into an anorexic capsule, and you just forget about everything else, and your only sole focus is achieving a certain body image, achieving in life in general, maybe. And I think I wanted to change that for my sophomore year. Number 6, participate in a competition. Violin competition. I am a violinist. I played violin ever since I was 5 years old, and I was starting to prepare for competitions, and it was really nice to get my playing to a really high caliber where it could be judged. And of course it was nerve-wracking and anxiety-inducing and horrible in the moment, but I think it really played a part in my progression as a musician. Number 7, study hard. And by hard, I mean, as you will see here, can you see? 2-hour limit per class. 2 hours. 2 hours. What? Why would I study for... I think that's how much I needed. I needed 2 hours for every test, at least. Because I'm not naturally smart. Things didn't come easily to me, but I wanted them to. So I just worked overtime. I studied hard. Number 8, challenge myself. Number 9, embrace tests and quizzes. I think I was trying to reframe school, apparently. At least tests and quizzes, because like I said, I had horrible test anxiety. And I remember dreading, like, putting a date in my planner, like say I had a test on Friday, I would say math test on my Friday part of my planner. And I would just dread that day. I would study Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Thursday night I would be just so anxious and stressed and feeling a pit in my stomach because I had a math test on Friday. And I think that just contributed to me not getting the scores that I thought I deserved, given all my hard work and studying 2 hours at least for this test or quiz. They just had so much pressure and unnecessary fear of failure attached to them. Okay, number 10, don't procrastinate. Procrastination was not really a big problem in high school for me, but then in college, procrastination became my best friend. That's for another entry in which I describe the consequences of procrastination. Number 11, love essays / time writes / anything writing related. Okay, I remember that in English classes we would have these like essays you had to write within a certain time period, like you had to cover all your ideas, write in a great writing style, See, I don't have the best writing style, even when I'm talking. And have an argument, have a topic sentence, have all your things fleshed out within like a 45-minute class period. And those broke me. I would be so scared. And I remember just walking in, and if we had a timed write, instantly like I would be in a fight or flight mode. I would be I would just get the worst writer's block and just blank. And I would just write something horrible and not up to the standards, and I was really bad at them. So again, on my quest of reframing things that gave me anxiety in school, let's love essays and timed writes. Okay. Number 12, stay sane during AP test week. Sophomore year is my first time taking APs. I think I stayed relatively sane. I survived. I'm here today. Number 13, always ask for help when needed. Number 14, get at least 2 A's per quarter. That was me setting myself up for success, because I always got, for the most part, all A's, but I wanted to like lower my standards. So if I get at least 2 A's per quarter, great. I achieved my goal. Number 15, pay attention in all classes. Number 16, not cram. Number 17, learn, not memorize. That's a good tip. I feel like I had a really good memory back then, and I think I was leveraging it too much, and I wasn't really absorbing anything. And I do love learning. I love being curious, asking questions, and still I wanted to reframe my classes and my approach to studying in a way that was learning driven, not just storing stuff in my memory. Number 18, accept when I can't handle something. What could I accept when I can't handle something? I don't know what I was thinking that I couldn't handle as a sophomore, rising sophomore. Yeah, interesting. Number 19, help anyone who needs it. I think I was just trying to be a nicer person. And this is exemplified by number 20, be nicer to Lauren, my little sister. The thing about being in eating disorder and so in the throes of it, my mood was not regulated. I had no filter. I would lash out, project, be just so disrespectful and rude and mean to my family, not to my friends. I feel like first of all, I didn't have many friends, but to my family especially, I couldn't control my anger, and I was so frustrated with myself and brought it on to my loved ones. And so I think I was starting to become aware of it. That's why I wanted to be nicer to Lauren. Poor Lauren. Number 21, smile more. And I have a little smiley face. You know why I wrote that is because when I was so stressed, I have a resting bitch face. Like, that's like my face. And when I just have this vivid memory of walking down the hall to one of my classes, and I had a quiz or a test or something, and I was so like full of I was terrified, dreadful. The only word I can describe it is dread. And my face is an open book when I'm angry or exasperated or aggravated. And I was like, I think I was walking down the hall like looking like I was about to cry, like that. And I was just walking, and then one teacher literally intercepted me, because sometimes teachers before classes would stand outside their hallway. One teacher, I don't even remember who it was. I was just on my way to my class, and he intercepted me. He was like, smile. you look so sad. I'm like, is that really what my face is communicating to the world? And I think, I mean, obviously don't fake your emotions, but if I like just had a more relaxed face and smiled more, maybe it would somehow ease my anxiety. Like that would be the trigger to just calm down instead of just being like that the whole time. Okay. Maybe I did smile more sophomore year. I cannot remember. Number 22, read with efficiency. I think that's related to reading textbooks and having to process a lot of content. Number 23, allow time to relax. Number 24, go with the flow. All of these are pretty contradictory. I was so school focused, but then I wanted to go with the flow. What flow? What flow in school? Go with the flow. I think this is me trying to loosen up. This is me trying to loosen up in my sophomore year. Number 25. This was a kind of a set goal I had every single year because I really am. I was always thinking about impact and what my impact would be on the world someday. I'm very idealistic, a huge daydreamer, just a huge imagination of what I could do with my life, even though I was so depressed and not myself, really, during this whole eating disorder journey, like in the peak of my eating disorder. But I always wanted to contribute something good to the world. And that was my number 25. Contribute something good to the world. And that's my last goal. And I'm still thinking about that goal, even to this day. Contribute something good, anything. If there's anything I can leave on this beautifully brutal, finite life I've been given, if anything, just something good, something that helps someone else, even one person. Okay, moving on. August 23rd, 2015. Tomorrow is the first day of school, and I'm really nervous. I keep worrying about this stupid bio reading quiz I have to take. Having intensive outpatient therapy for 4 hours every day this week, eating lunch with mom, and a bunch of other stupid stuff. Yes, I was so in my eating disorder that my therapist, my therapy team, we had to have this agreement where my mother would come and eat lunch with me in my high school, like in the office, to make sure I was eating lunch, because that was the first time I would be away from my mom, who's my primary like caretaker and helping me heal. She had to be there to watch me eat, to make sure I ate lunch. It was the most, like, I felt so babied and so dependent on someone else when I was 15 years old and I just wanted to be a teenager. Imagine like having to eat lunch with your mom every single day in the principal's office. I threw multiple fits about that, crying. My big response was like throwing away food in front of her face. Like, just this monster came out of me. I don't know. It was a tough time. Just imagine like having like, you, bye friends, I can't eat lunch with you. I have to go eat lunch with my mom. And they didn't know yet at this point why I needed to eat lunch with my mom. It was just such a confusing, disorienting situation. Okay, going back to my entry. Plus, I don't think I got that many good teachers this year. And then parentheses I write, wow, great grammar, Megan. I didn't really care about how I wrote in my diary. I just kind of dumped anything and wrote anything that popped up into my mind. I really hope everything works out fine this year. I just hate gaining weight. I thought it would be easier, but my mind is super messed up with this annoying eating disorder. Today I pretty much had a total breakdown at Panera. I really was not in the mood for chips today and opted for an apple, but of course Mom had to force me otherwise. So I was on a very strict diet plan, trying to recover my weight, and you had to have 3 meals a day, 2 snacks, certain types of food you had to eat. You couldn't eat like low cal, all those things that are like ED traps. And yeah, I wanted the apple obviously because it would have less calories, because my mind was just wired to count calories at this point in my life. Now I don't anymore. It's kind of amazing. But yeah, I find it interesting how I was very aware of how abnormal my way of thinking was. I said my mind is super messed up, and it was. And I was very aware of it. But that's how deep eating disorders go, is that you can't just change your mind like that. It's ingrained in your behaviors, and it's habitual. So yes, moving on to the Panera fiasco. And Mom had to force me otherwise to get chips instead of an apple, because my mom was like very stringent on me recovering my weight. It didn't help that Dad was already complaining that we didn't have much money in the bank. Financial struggles. Love that. That's sarcasm, by the way. I don't know if my sarcasm is coming through on the screen, but we're comfortable. Like, we lived in a middle-class family. My dad had a good job, but just finances were hard. Sometimes money was tight. It's not that we were in poverty, but sometimes we couldn't afford to go eat out all the time. Okay, when I went to order, Mom literally pushed me away and said, no, she's not allowed to order. Yeah, I remember that. Ugh. My mom just wanted me to get better. But it kind of manifested as anger for her. She had a very short temperament. I love my mother. She's such a loving, caring mother, but this eating disorder also brought out bad parts in her. It affected the collateral damage from my eating disorder, like affected other people who just cared about me. And so yes, it was a very off-putting scene for someone who didn't know my story and my background. If anyone was there in that Panera watching it, they'd be like, whoa, what the fuck? Why did that mom like literally just not let her daughter order? Her daughter is like a teenager. But little did they know, I was not in the right mind. The cashier was so freaked out. So embarrassing. That really got me worked up. I just don't feel like I'm treated like a person anymore. I want to eat like I used to, but I just can't because the stupid eating disorder ruined my life. Praying for a more optimistic year ahead. The end. Okay, now let's fast forward many, many months into January 5th, 2016. Hey there, long time no see, eh? Why did I write like a British man? Long time no see, eh? Well, my friend Sophie told me that she writes in a journal every night to help her fall asleep, which inspired me to start up again. Consider this a New Year's resolution. It's almost 12 a.m., and even though I'm not tired now, I'm exhausted. I was exhausted an hour ago when I was studying. Ugh, this always happens to me. Sophomore year is okay so far, but there are too many tests. I guess I'm not doing a very good job of embracing tests. Oh yeah, and Mr. Parrish, who is a pretty good guy otherwise, is a horrible AP government teacher. Stress! I say it like that because it's in all caps with multiple exclamation points. I was stressed. Stressed about AP government. Okay. Anyways, Mom just called me and nagged me to sleep. I guess I was making a racket somehow. So I guess I'll try to write in here tomorrow. I'm not even that tired. The end. Okay, next, a couple days later, January 7th, 2016. I didn't write yesterday because I was too tired. I drank a lot of coffee today, so I'm kind of still awake. Anyways, today was fine. Nothing too bad, but I have a Spanish quiz and chemistry test tomorrow. Wishing myself luck. I had so many tests. Yeah, not a very good situation to be in when you have test anxiety. I was just maybe in this like chronic state of anxiety. And I was also started getting addicted to coffee this point in my sophomore year because I needed to stay up to study and to focus. And fatigue was just standing in my way, and so I was very dependent on caffeine. Wishing myself luck. I had a quartet rehearsal too, which was actually pretty fun. We had dinner there, and I know I didn't eat enough. The only thing I want right now is to go back to normal. But I don't even know what that is anymore. The end. Yeah. All I wanted was some sense of normalcy to be a teenager, but those years were robbed because of my eating disorder. And on that note, I am signing off. This is longer than I thought, but hope you enjoyed this episode of Girl in Flux, and I will fix my hair. I will see you in the next one. All right, bye.